Let's come to question 7. What were the circumstances which led to the eventual collapse of the indigo production in Bengal? So, the main thing that devastated the indigo production of Bengal was the Blue Rebellion, which happened in 1859. At this time, the Britishers had already seen the rebellion of the first war of independence, that was the war of 1857, and they were not in position to have another rebellion in their hand. The Blue Rebellion, it happened because the peasants, they were fed up with the coercive ways of the Britishers to force them into having indigo plantation. In the Ryotwari system, they were supposed to grow indigo on the 25% of the land that they had, and their main production, the main cultivation of the rice was taking a hit, because every time the rice field needed plow or the labors, the indigo plantation also needed that. So they were not able to manage, and they were not even getting right kind of money from the indigo plantation. So it was not also a kind of motivation for them to shift to the indigo cultivation. Of course, the coercion was there, and another thing, they gained a lot of support from the village headmen as well as the zamindars. So some of the other times, the village headman was forced into signing these contracts with the Britishers on behalf of the ryots, and they did not like that. So they mobilized the people against the Britishers, against the East India Company, against the indigo planters. Of course, the zamindars were also there. They were not liking this sudden shift of the authority, which was first in their hand, but now it was going on to the indigo planters. So basically, they did not like the intervention of the Britishers in their old ways. So the zamindars also mobilized the people into fighting against the British people into their coercive means. Also, it made their land very, very infertile, and because of that, they were not even the land was not even that kind of fertile to produce rice after that. So that was also a very big no-no for them, and that is why it all eventually led to the collapse of indigo production in Bengal. Question 8 is, find out more about the Champaran movement and Mahatma Gandhi's role in it. So in Champaran, when after the East India Company, they failed to have the Britishers, when they failed to have this indigo plantation, the cultivation of indigo in Bengal, they shifted to Bihar. And now these peasants of Bihar, they were forced to have the indigo plantation. But by the time the indigo plantation started taking place in Bihar, around the early 19th century, it also happened that synthetic dye was coming into picture, and because of the market of synthetic dye, the Indian indigo was not that much in demand. So now the indigo cultivators were not even getting a right kind of money for their cultivation. They were forced to have that kind of cultivation throughout their lands, which made their land so infertile that they could not even grow any other crops. Apart from that, they were not even getting a proper remuneration for whatever the cultivation they were doing. So that is why some peasants, along with Dr. Rajendra Prasad, they approached Mahatma Gandhi to stop this kind of exploitation that was going on with the peasants in Bihar against the indigo planters. So Mahatma Gandhi, he stepped in, and he went to jail for that. He protested with the peasants and the people of Bihar, and it was the beginning. It marked the beginning of the role of Mahatma Gandhi, the Gandhian era. It marked the beginning of the Gandhian era. Mahatma Gandhi became famous after the Champaran movement. The peasants thought of him as a Masiha, that he was there to resolve all the problems that whenever they are going to have any kind of problem. And of course, after Mahatma Gandhi went to jail, the protest was heard by the Britishers, and they subsequently they resolved this dispute about the Champaran protest. Question 9 is, look into the history of either tea or coffee plantation in India. See how the life of workers in these plantations was similar to or different from that of the workers in indigo plantations. Now first, before we see the difference, we have to see that what kind of tea or coffee plantations were actually there in India. So the tea or coffee plantations were introduced by the Britishers only in India, and that was happening under two systems, if I am correct. One was known as Akrati system, and one was known as Sardari system. First, it was known as Akrati, and the another was known as Sardari. So in Akrati system, the people from outside the area, such as the tribals from Chota Nagpur Plateau mostly, they were employed, and they were employed by the tea planters. And in Sardari system, the local people were employed, and they were re-employed again for the plantation of these tea. Now, in both these systems, in indigo as well as tea and coffee plantations, the laborers were exploited. Only the masters, they gained the profit, and this was this was very very evident from the system that happened, that it was a very exploitative procedure. But in the tea and coffee plantation, these laborers were not even permitted to go home. They were bonded by the indentured labor. They were in contract with the indentured labor. They were not even allowed to meet their families, because they were, they were from outside the state. They were brought there to work on these farms. They were not even allowed to go back home. In their contract, they were supposed to have very very hard labor on these tea farms and coffee farms, and they did not have any permission, they did not have any freedom. Whereas the indigo farmers, they did not have such kind of exploitation. They were not coerced into not meeting their families or so, but they were practicing this on their own land. So basically, that is one of the major difference that was there. Otherwise, the exploitative, the coercive measures were all the same. Let's move on to the quick revision of the chapter. Events timeline. On 12th of August 1756, as we all know, the East India Company was granted the Diwani of Bengal by the Mughal. 1793, the permanent settlement was introduced in the reign of the Governor General Lord Cornwallis. In 1822, Mahalwari system was introduced, which was supposed to be a little different from the permanent settlement system, but it could not fetch great results. In March 1859, the Blue Rebellion started, also known as, maybe called as Indigo Rebellion. The people of Bengal, they no longer wanted to cultivate indigo. They had huge dissent towards the British people, the indigo planters. The company introduced permanent settlement in 1793 to increase the revenue from the land. They also wanted the revenue to be continuous. They did not wanted any interruption in the revenue. So rather than thinking from gaining profit, they were being very very oppressive towards one thing, that they wanted a continuous flow of revenue rather than interrupted but a profitable flow of revenue. The new Mahalwari system gave the revenue collection work to the village headman, that was also known as the Mahal, instead of the Zamindar, and revenue was not fixed permanently. Rather, it was supposed to get revised according to every situation and after a certain period of time. The Ryotwari system was introduced in the South India by Thomas Munro, the governor of Madras. The company expanded the area used for indigo cultivation using Nij and Ryoti systems of cultivation. These systems led to decline in production of food grains, farmers' debts, and migration of farmers in search of other work. Because this system was so coercive in nature that the food grain production was on decline. Of course, people were not allowed to work on their rice fields, and rather they were coerced on working in the indigo plantations. Farmers were having this huge amounts of debt because of this, because they fell into the trap of money lenders, and they left their land to search for the other jobs. Blue Rebellion that happened in 1859, an Indigo Commission was set up after the Blue Rebellion, because the British, they were not ready to have another rebellion in their hand. Which found the planters guilty and gave Ryots the right to refuse to cultivate indigo upon completion of their agreement. So the agreement which was already there, they were supposed to complete that agreement, and after that they could refuse to produce indigo on their land. So that is what happened in the Blue Rebellion. Of course, people, they thought that this was a supportive measure from the Queen itself, from the British people, but it was just to pacify the hour of the revolt. It was just to pacify the rebellions. Indigo production moved to Bihar after its fall in Bengal. Mahatma Gandhi's visit to Champaran started the Champaran Satyagraha of 1917. That also marked the beginning of the Gandhian era in the freedom struggle. So that ends our chapter. Hope you all liked the chapter. Hope you all liked the video. Of course, this video has certain timelines which is very important for us to remember. All the plantations, how it took place, and the right way to go through an answer is you introduce the policy, then you say that by which person it was introduced, or under which reign it was introduced, in what year it was introduced, what was the actual policy, what were its implication, and what is your conclusion. So if you write your answers this way, you could fetch more points. So let's hope that you all do well in this chapter. Thank you.